Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and welcome back to the Inside Analysis Big Data Ecosystem Marketplace. We're pleased to have with us right now Andrew Chikiar from BigML, and he's going to give us a demo about his machine learning platform. Andrew, take it away.
Yeah, thanks so much. So BigML offers a highly scalable, cloud-based machine learning platform for predictive analytics that's easy to use, seamless to integrate, and instantly actionable. Our workflow and visualizations bring the power of advanced analytics to less technical users, while the underlying API can be leveraged by data scientists and developers to architect a wide array of predictive applications and services. Predictive models, ensembles, and clusters can be securely shared with colleagues or customers, or made available for public purchase and download through our Predictive Model Marketplace. What I'm going to show you today is exactly how to use BigML through a bank data set looking at income data for a bank. So the first thing I do with BigML is to log into my account. We're a cloud-based solution, so everything is hosted on Amazon Web Services and accessed through our website. So I'm going to log into my account, and this is the dashboard for BigML. And up top, you see a variety of steps, which pretty much mimics our workflow. The first thing you do is you upload a data source, you create that into a structured data set, and from there you can build predictive models, ensembles. We now offer clusters as well, and against those you can do predictions. You can also evaluate the strength of your model through a very simple train test and evaluation workflow. So let's bring data into BigML. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can simply drag a file into BigML, which I'm going to do here. You can also create a source from Windows Azure Marketplace where we've done integration. I can also browse my Dropbox account and bring files in through Dropbox. You can also create a source from a URL, right? So in this case, I have data on S3, Amazon S3. But if you have an API link or any other sort of URL link, you can bring data in through that manner as well. So there's a lot of ways to bring data into BigML. The data we work with typically is anything in rows and columns. So in this case, we're going to look at this bank data. So if you see here, if you look here, you see we have a number of columns classifying different customers of a bank. We have their age, their work class, their education, marital status, occupation, relationship, race, gender, capital gains, loss, hours worked per week, their country, and then their income. Do they make more or less than $50,000? So let's pretend that I'm a bank manager and I want to find people who make more than $50,000 so that I can offer them some sort of preferred loan. In fact, let's say I want to find people who I'm very confident are going to make more than $50,000. So this is my existing customer base, and let's say I have 16,000 plus 16,248 customers in this instance, and I have records on all of them. All right, so I can just simply bring this data into BigML as I did, and I can then look at my data source. So the first thing you'll notice here is that we've actually flipped our table on its side. So these are my fields, age on through income. And we also show you your first couple dozen instances to make sure that all of the data is lined up okay, and then you can adjust if necessary at this step in the workflow. In general, at each step of the BigML workflow, there's basic settings and more advanced settings for more advanced users or if you need to manipulate your data. So in this instance here, I can reconfigure my source if I need to. So if anything was miscategorized, I could change it from one data type to another. In this instance here, we have numeric data for things like age, and we also have categorical data for things like gender. Not shown in this demo is how BigML can process text data, meaning free-form text, and also date data. So if you have a date associated with an action, we'll automatically break that into year, month, date, day of week, hour, minute, second. If I need to change anything, I could simply use this pull-down tab to change the data type. Or if I want to use more advanced features, I could handle missing tokens differently. I could tweak the headers and look at ways that my data is being ingested by BigML and manage that here through this dialog. Everything looks okay. So my next step here is to actually create a data set. So I can go to Configure Data Set. I could rename it if I wish. If I had a larger data set, I may wish to take a subset of it. But since this is a small data set, I'll go ahead and take the whole thing. And so this is our customer data set. And you'll see that we've provided some top-level histograms and summaries of the data. So for numeric data, in this case age, we can mouse over to look at the distribution. We also have your kind of standard statistical summaries here on the right-hand side. For categorical data, again, I can mouse over to see how my data splits. And I can get some good information on the data that I've uploaded, right? So I see here, for example, that 11,000 plus of my customers are private workers and not government or unemployed. The data set view does a couple things. One, it allows you to interpret and get more insight into your data, but also it's a foundation from which you'll work to build predictive models and clusters. So my next step here is actually to build a predictive model. And so to do that, I'm going to configure my model. All right, so I'll go to Configure Model. And from here, I can choose which fields I want to include in my predictive model. So you'll notice something here. You'll see native country is grayed out. So BigML has some heuristics on the back end that recommend fields that should or should not be included in your model. In this case, we're suggesting that we do not include native country in this model. As you move forward with predictive modeling, you'll see that there may be times where you wish to include or not include a field. So if you have fields that cause conflicts with your predictive outcomes, so for example, if I had a field here with that was income related, I may wish to not include that because that would skew my model. But in this case, I'm going to include all of my fields in the predictive model. If I want to change the objective field instead of the default, which is always the last field in our list, I can simply go here and choose anything else to predict. There's also more advanced settings. If I want to change the depth of my tree, if I want to handle weighting for any of my fields, or do any sort of advanced sampling or ordering for the way that we process the data. But for the purpose of this demo, let's keep it simple and go ahead and build a predictive model for predicting whether or not someone's going to make more or less than $50,000. So BigML's core algorithm is decision tree. We chose decision trees because they're quick to build, as you just saw. They're easy to interpret by data scientists and less technical users alike. And also, they can actually be compounded quite well into ensembles, which are, or random decision forests, which are basically compounds of trees for more accurate prediction methodology. So a decision tree is basically a series of if-then statements. At the top of the tree, we have our root node. And this is the data field that will most quickly split the data into a predictive outcome. So in this case here, you'll see on the right-hand side, we have a prediction path. It says what our field is. So it turns out that marital status is most critical in determining whether or not someone will make more or less than $50,000. So if we follow the tree, we can take a split here, and we see that if someone's not married or in a civil union, our confidence, so initially we have 75% confidence someone's going to make less than 50K. We see now if you're not married in a civil union, the confidence goes up that you're going to make less than 50K. Then the next field here is capital gains. We see if you're making less than $7,100, the confidence is high, you're going to make less than 50K. If you're less than 27 years old, and your capital loss is under $2,200, and you're actually younger than 23, we now have 99% confidence you're going to make less than $50,000. Conversely, if we go the other way down this tree, we said if you are married or in a civil union, and your capital gains are over $55,094, we now have a 97% confidence you're going to make more than $50,000. Right? So we use information gain for our trees, meaning that if no more information will add to the predictive value, we signify that as a leaf node here as a green node with a solid line around it, which is going to be our final prediction. This is actually a very effective way of breaking down data and actually learning more about your data. Here's another scenario where I see someone who's married and has capital losses between $1,700 and $2,000 effectively, but it has low capital gains, we know again that this person is likely to be earning more than $50,000. So in the scenario again where I'm a bank manager and I want to target people with high income for a preferred loan, I could actually, almost like an analog or offline fashion, I could tell my bank workers that, hey, if you see anyone who comes to your desk who fits this criteria, please be sure to offer them a loan. I can also dig deeper into any of the splits of the tree, so it's fully interactive, and I can look at any split in the tree. We also have some very quick filters here if I want to sort by confidence. So let's say I want to find a scenario where I want to find people who have 75% confidence or higher are making more than 50K. I can simply choose that here, and these are the paths that will get me there. Right. So a couple other things I could do here. If I'm particularly interested in a cohort of users, I can actually export this. I can create a new data set with this, which will then create a new data set. Right, and I could do further analysis on that. Or I can also go and export just the rules associated with that outcome. Right, and we can export the rules in a number of languages, for further analysis in a more detailed and technical way. In addition to our core decision tree view, we have something called the sunburst view, and this is basically a top-down way of looking at your tree. Right, so this is our root node here. And this is the root node here, and each rung out shows another branch on the tree. And we can sort this view by confidence or by prediction. All right, so if I only want to find highly confident predictions, I can look for something that's very light green. Right, and here's a scenario where I have a highly confident prediction of someone making less than 50K, and these are the criteria associated with that. So what we've done now is actually we've created a predictive model. Right, so as I said, you can stop here and actually just use the information in an offline way, but more importantly, this is now fully actionable, right? So I can do a couple of things with this actionable model. I can now make predictions against it, right? So I can use this prediction interface to make a prediction. So I can type in the associated parameters for an individual who walks into the bank and to predict whether or not they're going to make more or less than 50K. Depending on whatever information I have, I can pull in here. Let's say it's someone who works really hard, who's on the younger side, who has low capital losses and high capital gains. We can then have a prediction here as to whether or not this person is going to make more or less than 50K. In this case, you'll see we're predicting they're going to make. We have 97% confidence they're making more than 50K. But if their capital gains go down, capital losses go up, all of a sudden the prediction changes in real time. This is actually a new feature of BigML, being able to have this interactive prediction field based on the different criteria. Now if we go back to the model, I can do a couple other things with this as well. So I can actually look at a model summary report. So this is very informative in telling me what are the most important fields that will lend themselves to the predictive outcome. So here we see occupation is most important, education, capital gains, age, marital status are the top 5. All right, so this is also informative to me as a knowledge worker, as a marketer, or in a variety of aspects. And this summary tab shows you the information in a more granular way, as well as some of the key branches to the tree. I can also download an actionable model in a variety of languages. All right, so we have bindings here. So a lot of our users use Python, so I can actually copy this Python code into a local shell to incorporate this into an adjunct application or service for outbound marketing or other activities. Another way I can actually download the model is in Excel. Right, so if I download this into Excel, I'd have an Excel model where I can actually make predictions within the spreadsheet. So a couple other things I could do with and here's the model in Excel, right? So I could actually type in the fields here. I could send this around to my workers so you can see exactly how portable the model is once it's been built. So BigML, quite quickly actually built a very advanced model, which is now very usable in a variety of ways. Something else I can do with this model is I can share the model, right? So I can actually choose to share the model either directly with the user, so I could send this link to someone, and anyone now could actually access this model by using this link, or I could share it in BigML's gallery in either white box or black box format, and then these models would actually be then posted to BigML's Predictive Model gallery, where they could be accessed by other users for free, or you could actually associate a price point with the models if you wish. So going back to our use case here, this is great for me to understand my past users, but say I want to predict the future, right? So the key thing to predictive modeling is learning from the past to predict the future. So let's say I have a new set of users, right? These are my new customers. Say we just acquired a new bank, and I want to find people whose income is going to be highest to target with my new acquisition loan offer. So here I have another 16,000 users where I have the same information, but I don't actually have their income. So to actually make a prediction against this, it's quite easy. I can actually now bring this data set into BigML. All right, so if I go back to my sources, I see I have my set of new customers. And from here, I can build a data set. Since we saw how to do this before, I'm going to build a one-click data set. I'm actually going to shortcut the interim step that we had before. And from this, I'm going to do what's called a batch prediction. All right, and so I'm going to predict, I'm going to find the model that I built before. Sorry. Current customers dataset model. And then I'm going to choose the fields I wish to have. And here, so I'm going to actually add a header row. I'm going to include all the fields. I want to add confidence too. So I want to find people who I'm very confident are going to make more than $50,000. I'm going to go ahead and predict against this. And what we're going to get here is a batch prediction for my new data set associated with confidence. So these are the same people who before we did not know whether or not they're going to make more or less than $50,000. In a very crude way, I could actually filter this, right? And say I want to find people who just make more than 50K and who my confidence is greater than 75%. Now these are my users, right? So I now have, out of the 16,000 records, I have the 1,443 customers that are going to be my high priority targets based on the model that we trained in the past, and then just simply importing their data and predicting against that. That's one end-to-end example of how to use BigML. Other things you can do with BigML as well. You can evaluate the strength of your model, which is very quick to do. So it's nice to be able to build predictions, but you want to have confidence that your model is accurate, so you can actually score your model. You can also build clusters to look at relationships in your data. And as I mentioned, we can also process both text fields as well as date fields, and use all of those fields to look at the relationships between your data points and to add those to your prediction methodologies. So I believe that's the end of our time today, but I do encourage you to visit the website to see how you can use the other features that I mentioned, as well as you can visit our gallery to download models and start building predictive applications today.
Thanks so much. This is really, really powerful stuff. I can see all kinds of applications across just about any vertical I can think of. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, we had Andrew Shkiar from BigML. Andrew, thanks so much.
Thank you.